Welcome to a shockingly special episode of the MisanthroPod, episode 146. It took us that long to decide to integrate cameras into the whole thing, but one that wasn't a special edition kind of thing.
Yeah, if you're listening to this purely on the audio feed, then you'll never know what I'm holding in my hand right now. You'll
never know because you held it behind the microphone.
What?
Shut up.
You'll never guess what I'm holding.
He says, not raising his hand. This is the third dick fake out you've given us. And we've been talking for less than 20 minutes. How dare you?
I can hold something.
Okay,
yes,
fine.
we've all held an object, Miguel. It was definitely a bit that was funnier.
Welcome
done
to the
3 times.
Where we hold things, we have held things, and in the future we possibly will hold more things. We just don't know. Episode 146, I am joined as always by Wib. Say hello.
Hello.
And I'm also joined by TheDrummerMatt. Say hello.
Hello.
How are you, lovely gentlemen, this fine, incredibly uncomfortably hot evening?
Doing surprisingly okay, considering that it is indeed horribly warm. Matt, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm actually not too bad. I don't know, despite being very red from said heat. No, all right. How are you, Snipe?
I'm fine. I'm a bit sore because I fought a car today. No, I did not fight a car today. Just gym stuff. Working out and like doing cardio in 25-degree heat in a gym that legally has air conditioning isn't fun.
As far as its legal requirements are concerned, it has air conditioning.
Well, there was literally I could feel air, so it was warm.
It is good that oxygen is present in that gym.
I mean,
Yeah.
I can't prove it, but I haven't asphyxiated yet, and I haven't seen anyone else do it either. So that's a good indicator. There was a man in the walls in the bathroom, though. In the changing rooms. Like, okay, so you go in, and there's
it was the in the walls part that was concerning.
No, I'm getting to the man in the walls. Don't worry. The man in the gym locker walls, and I could tell that he felt very uncomfortable being a man in the walls and in the ladies' changing rooms next to the showers. So you go in.
That's not where you're meant to be.
No,
that's not where anyone's meant to be.
I don't think that's good. But yeah, you walk in and it's like a locker room. And then you kind of, there's like towards the back, there's steps up to there's like 3 toilet stalls. And then there's like 6, there's like 3 on either side of the wall, like showers. And just beyond the showers, there's a little alcove where there's a couple of mirrors and a couple of hair dryers. So you can, get out of the shower and just, I don't know, blow dry your ass and balls if you want to. No judgment. I never touch them, so do what you want. And there was like, it's like a foot width door. And I've never seen it open. I thought it was like for electronics or maybe like some of the plumbing like switches or something. And there's just a folded up wheelchair outside of it and it's open and a light's coming out. And I'm like, this is how a fucking creepypasta starts. I'm going to die.
It sounds like either a miracle or a nightmare just happened.
Well, it's like because I drink so much water when I work out, so I need to pee frequently, which is something that I'm glad everyone knows now.
Yep. I was about to say I'm not sure why that detail was included, but you know what?
Because I went in the bathroom. I went back into the changing room like 3 or 4 times because I was there for like two and a bit hours, and I only saw this man there once, and he was like a workman, so he was in like a polo shirt and stuff. And, like, I go up the steps to go pee, and I see this, like, head poking out, and he's like, oh. You can tell he's just horrified to be there. And, like, you look through the door, because I was like, I'm going to have a cheeky nose in the door, but there is a man in there. And it just looked like a loft. It looked like an attic. And I was like, what the fuck is my gym? What is it made? This is some House of Leaves shit. No one's going to get that, but the right people will.
You found the back rooms.
I found the back rooms in my gym locker room, yeah. And that guy was so embarrassed that he let me find the back rooms.
It would be a gyminal space.
Oh, boo.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're not. Don't applaud that, Matt. Don't do that. But that was one. Okay, this should be I should be waiting for my segment, but I will continue my gym segment in my segment.
Okay. Do we have
Good.
any general news to talk about? I don't think we do.
Apart from the fact, well, I guess we could talk about that we will be having the video versions of the MisanthroPod on the YouTube channel. We're not going to be uploading them to Spotify. Well, for the foreseeable future, that's just going to be pure audio. So,
And it's got absolutely nothing to do with the fact that we don't know how.
I could figure it out. I just don't want to. But yeah,
Are we
maybe-
going to on the topic of Spotify? Are we going to mention that they invent the chapter titles for us?
Oh,
I
Jesus,
forgot.
yeah.
Do you have them handy?
No.
I can. Give me a second. I can pull them up. Someone fill time. Say some funny things.
Hey, so, a priest. No, I don't know. I can't remember the joke.
Good work.
The
Okay,
one time
I've
you don't have anything to say is the one time we say you need to say something.
Okay, you motherfucker. I never have anything to say.
I've got the episode up. Where
so
does
this
it
is,
say
the
chapter titles?
Yeah, what Spotify does now is it uses AI, which is boo, but also this is quite a fun and harmless way of doing it as much as it can be. So what it'll do is it will generate chapters like in a YouTube video, and it will kind of title them. And it gets a little confused. So we did that on episode. We noticed it on episode 145, which is obviously the previous one. Would you like to read some out, Wibbo?
I'll read them. So we start off with intro. That is traditionally
Good.
where an intro
Strong.
goes.
Yeah.
At the introduction. Yeah.
ADHD. Yes.
I mean,
playing again.
oh,
Ominous. The state of the world.
heartbreakingly accurate. Yeah.
With a
Yeah.
shrug emoji next to it or something.
Moving house.
Yeah.
Which I don't remember talking about, especially since none of us have moved house in over a year.
But all of us have moved house at
I presume
some
at
point.
at some point we
Yeah.
maybe made a reference to having moved a while ago. I
Possibly
don't know.
even since when did we record the previous episode? Before that, before the gap, was it during
think
that time
so.
you moved
It
house?
was
It
before we
might
moved,
have.
yeah.
It could have come up.
No. We did record some here.
Okay.
sure.
No,
I
no.
don't think so. But, I mean, yeah.
Anyway, the next one is the cool gym guy. So that makes sense. BPM, bullets per minute,
Accurate, yes.
which is one segment, a separate segment, entirely unrelated. Autistic obsession with BPM.
That's like the first two chapters of my autobiography. It's topic. The next chapter is autistic obsession with topic.
We then have Zelda, the Breath of the Wild 2.
Yes, I think
so
that's
it's
correct.
Not completely wrong.
You know, I think it's because you said it's. You probably said Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which is basically Breath of the Wild 2. You probably said something like that. The next section is just called Warhammer, and it's less than a minute long. So, you know, we know how to appeal to our audience.
You gotta tickle their balls a
this is
little
good.
bit.
The next is the new fantasy dozer.
Like as
Don't
in
know what that
bulldozer?
means. Yeah,
Or like-
dozer.
okay.
Dozer.
Okay.
Next, what's been up to? Question mark.
What's been up to?
What's
Your-
been up to? You go up to your friends and you're like, what's been up to? And they go, get away from me.
And I told
And then
you
some
before.
sense, and then it's
They retreat back to the
sensible.
walls.
It's
Only in
sensible
the
and
locker room.
says, it says Easy Delivery Co. Pesticide not included. Space Marine 2. So what I'm establishing is that when I'm talking, this thing can work out what I'm saying.
You have like a logical flow. Or like pointing at no one in particular.
No? Okay. Sure. Yeah, no, I'm not offended.
The next one I quite enjoy, which is The Drummer or The Drummer.
It's a very good. I mean, that is literally what we talked about for a while.
Yeah. And then, you know how you talked about, oh yeah, because we got the email from a fake San Pellegrino thing.
Yeah.
But it hasn't got it right, so it's Sam Pellegrino, like it's someone's name.
Oh yeah.
I love the idea that there's this Italian man who just desperately wants to be our friends, and he's like,
Probably.
the MisanthroPod. I'm doing the hand gestures now. Please be my friends, and we're like, fucking spam, go die, and he's just like,
Nah.
And then there's outro. So
It's
I
not
would love it
actually
if it was
terrible,
outro and
so-
then intro again.
it's not that terrible, but also.
Well, if I say hello, welcome, do you think it will call this section an intro?
Let me do it again.
Oh, what's he gonna do with this?
Welcome to episode 146 of MisanthroPod. I'm Snipe, and as always, fuck AI.
I mean, what's he gonna title this segment?
Yeah.
Because
Can
it's
we have a
getting
section
algo
where we're
text.
talking about like fuck Spotify to see if it wants to like self-say fuck Spotify? I have nothing particularly against Spotify, but I'm
No,
sure
but it's
I have a
so
lot of
funny.
things against
There's a whole
Spotify.
discussion there, but like, no, well, yeah, okay, you're right. Fuck Spotify. Equally, I use Spotify, so I feel slightly hypocritical saying that, but you're right.
There is
fuck
no
Spotify.
ethical consumption
Yeah.
under capitalism, and I know that's not an excuse for clubbing seals to death, but at the same time, none of us have clubbed a seal to death as far as I'm aware.
But anyway, I think we've stalled for time enough to make up for the fact we didn't have any news by discussing the chapter titles of the previous episode.
Hey, it's interesting, and I'm glad I listened to it, and I'm part of it.
I mean, yeah, I did actually want to say just a little bit of thank you to everyone who left comments on the previous episode, because it's very easy to feel like when you make something like this, where I think, especially because we obviously do other things that have a bigger audience than the podcast does, so it's easy to feel like, there's no bugger watching it. No, it's easy to feel like that. And how many people were really excited to see the podcast return was really lovely.
It
so
was
thank you very much
genuinely
for all of the kind
lovely.
words.
Yeah, my favorite
Very
comment
much
was the one I had to go in and manually approve, which is, I have never come so fast. So thank you, mystery YouTube comer. I hope that's a
have never
Spotify
approved a
AI
comment so
generated
fast.
chapter. Yes. Thank you so much for coming so fast. That was cool.
Yep.
Oh wait, did we give some viewers permission to come last time? Because I think that's probably why they came so fast.
No. Is this the bold new direction that the podcast is going? It's kind of a jerk off instruction thing.
Well, no, it's more of a Dom, I will let you like jizz when I decide you're allowed to kind of thing. I think that works.
Okay, well, I think as long as you get like consent from the audience, everyone has to obviously do this individually. No. I mean, I guess unless you want to elect a spokesperson.
For the audience?
Yes.
Okay.
Unionize.
Yeah.
Unionize. Keep us in
The
touch.
MisanthroPod are the only
then you can
podcast
have
with a unionized audience.
That can just come to our homes and kill us when they get fed up with a certain topic. As is their union fought right. We're very pro-union
But
here.
as we have established, they may be able to come round the house, but that's the only kind of coming they're allowed to do.
We need to talk to a union rep. Please volunteer one.
Yeah, I feel like we need to talk to the union right now.
Yeah. What if like the viewers are our union rep and we're theirs? No conflict of interest there at all.
Matthew, will you please save us from whatever this bit is by telling us what you have been doing in the last fortnight?
Coming.
I have been doing a few bits and bobs. I have been playing... So, a while ago, on my Switch, I played the Mario Rabbids game, and it was I surprisingly loved it at the time.
Is that...
It was like one of those ones where I was not...
What?
It's XCOM, or whatever there must be a generic term for that, turn-based tactic shooter.
I don't know.
It's XCOM.
A turn-based tactical shooter, as I think a fair way to say
probably
it.
that, but yeah, I mean, I was probably not far off. But I really enjoyed it, and I didn't necessarily play it for the story, but I remember it being, the story was fine, but the actual gameplay was really fun. So I've been playing the sequel, because they made more of these fuckers.
Oh, yeah.
It's called, I don't even know what the fuck it's called. It's not called 2, but it's called, I don't even know. Spark
Rabbids
of
again.
Hope, possibly.
I do like how Ubisoft invented minions before Pixar or whoever the fuck did. That was kind of gross and horrible of them, I guess.
Is it DreamWorks? It's not DreamWorks. Searchlight?
I'm pretty sure I do remember.
Minions.
Just give me 1 second to think
Minions
about
is
it.
Illumination, because they shout
Illumination
at the start. And I've watched that splash screen many times in the last 2 or 3 years.
I wonder why.
So I'm very aware that it's Illumination.
Universal Pictures and Illumination Entertainment, and distributed by Universal.
I can see where I got Searchlight
It's made in
from.
France, and all the voices of the Minions is just one guy, apparently.
That poor
I
man.
did hear that, yeah.
Or something. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, the second game's crap compared to the first.
Oh, yeah.
They've just there's a few little tweaks they've done to it. And they've done things rather than moving a set amount of squares or distance or whatever, and you're it's the same, it's similar to a lot of these ones. You've got a movement range you can do, and then you've got action points where you can do a certain number of actions. But they've done things I don't know, it's just rather than clicking on the square you move to, you just run around within a certain radius, and it's just little things like that which on the face of it makes no difference, but it just makes it feel very different. It takes away the I don't know, it's
of
you can
choice?
just you've got this no, it's not it's not that. It just makes it feel less tactical somehow, in that you can just run around wherever you want within a certain radius of where you started from. It just sort of makes it takes away the flow somehow, and I can't quite work out why.
There's a slightly... because the movement on a grid is an abstraction, it gives a different flavour to movement, whereas when it is just distance... Because I've played games that use both, and there is a very different feel to both of those systems.
Yeah, and it just doesn't quite feel... I say right, it's probably just because I put in a lot of hours into the first one, and this is different. I don't like change because I'm getting old.
If you played them the other way around,
Yeah,
you'd probably
it's
have
just-
the opposite opinion.
Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, no, totally. I'm willing to accept that. Yeah, and it's very easy, and I keep putting the difficulty up, and I get it's a game for kids. It's fine, and easy games absolutely fine if that's what you want. But the first one felt like it had a surprise, despite being a kid's game. It felt like it had a surprising amount of gameplay depth to it. And this one, despite doing not that much different, seemingly, just somehow doesn't feel like that. So, slightly disappointed, gotta be honest.
That's a shame.
I'll stick with it for a bit in case, but we will see. I've been eyeing up a Switch too, but fucking, who knows if it's possible to buy one of those and wait for some games. But I want to play. There's a Tony Hawk's, and they're remaking the Tony Hawk's 3 and 4, and Tony Hawk's 3 was my jam as a kid.
Oh, same, dude.
And I'm
That was
can I
Tony
justify
Hawk's
buying a
1
new
and 2.
console just to play a Tony Hawk's game?
Not
Possibly
to put too fine a point on it, but I did literally play Tony Hawk's 3 on stream a couple of months ago.
I mean,
on,
that is
on
an
an
option.
emulator, and it works just fine.
Yes, but I would argue that buying a Switch 2, if available anywhere, would be cheaper than buying a PC, because I don't have a PC to game on at the moment.
Okay, that is an excellent point.
Weirdly enough,
Tidbit out.
Yeah.
I also can I have a controversial take?
Okay.
And it's going to make me sound like a douchey scumbag. So fair warning in advance. So the Switch 2 is £400 ish. It's £380. I know it's 400 because I was eyeing it up. It's 430 with the Mario Kart World game, which is 80 quid by itself. Which fuck 80 quid games. That's a whole separate conversation.
That, yeah.
But £380, considering the original Switch was 300 8 years ago. To me, 380, it's a lot of money. I absolutely accept that. This is the douchey part that I'm meaning. But it doesn't seem that bad. And when you get basically, my takeaway is, the point is, all tech reviewers seem to be doubling down on how expensive it is. And yet the next day, these same tech reviewers say 700 quid is a budget phone and you should upgrade that every 2 years. I'm well, for upgrading a console every 8 years, for paying cheaper than the cheapest phone you've ever reviewed on your techie channel, not you, them. I don't know, it just strikes me as a weird, like, how can you say, like, £1,000 is reasonable to spend on a phone and less than half of that, 4 times less often, is too expensive? I don't know, I don't want to sound like a dick and say it's cheap, because, you know, it's a bit of tech, it's not cheap, I absolutely accept that, but I don't know, I feel like the whole internet has doubled down on this thing being expensive, and I'm like, well, I just don't think it is. Compared to, you know, other things, again, caveats, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, in my head, a console on launch, being about 500 quid is just how much they usually are in my head. Like, I remember the PlayStation, like, seeing PlayStation 1s costing that much in the 90s when £500 was a lot more money.
Yeah, and this is like, what, 380 or whatever it is? Pounds?
Yeah,
I mean, yeah. It's my one random bugbear that's been floating around my head, and I haven't been able to moan to anyone about it because, like, it's A, meaningless moan, and B, I come across as a bit of a dick by saying this multi-£100 bit of tech extravagance is cheap when it's absolutely not. But I don't know. It's just like,
well, it's because you're not actually making a complaint about the making a defense of the console's price. You're just pointing out that people have some odd double standards about how they talk about money.
Yeah.
And I do get that. There's lots of stuff where people have blind spots about, like, how much individual things cost. Like, oh, this thing's quite cheap, and you're like, I didn't know about that. It's like, oh, it's only £100, and you're like, for a lot of people, £100 is a lot of money.
This is something that's been
£80 for a game is too much for most people.
Yeah, that
to
is.
Be
Yeah.
able, well, I don't know most people. I don't understand what the rest of the world lives like. I'm a YouTuber.
How many hours do you have to work to afford one video game? That's how I kind of see it, and it pisses me the fuck off. And I mean, okay, I'm fucking sick of capitalism. It sucks and it's terrible. And before anyone decides to become super intelligent, fuck off. I'm not going to go live in a shed somewhere, Jeremy. You can go die. Non-actionable. It's like, I'm pissed off because I've been looking for new, like, gym shoes because mine are destroyed. And I don't need weightlifting shoes because that's not the kind of thing I'm doing. I just need a good all-rounder. So I'm looking at
weightlifting shoes.
Weightlifting shoes, they, like, have, like, I think they have, like, really good, like,
toe
arch
textures
support.
In case you drop things?
No.
That seems like the one sensible thing you need in a weightlifting shoe.
It's a specific type of sole. It's like with running shoes, they need to be light and bouncy. Whereas weightlifting shoes, I think a lot of people use Converse for lifting because they're, like, so thin and bad that you'll see a lot of people doing, like, lifting barefoot.
I feel like this is a call out because I refuse to buy a pair of boots and just wear Converse all the time.
I mean, if the Converse isn't suitable. Anyway, I think you look amazing. Okay, never mind. You just look good in boots, okay? I think everyone should have a good pair of boots. I'm not biased, shut the fuck up. But yeah, and I was like, I don't need weightlifting shoes because that's not the kind of lifting I'm doing. Not yet anyway, I need to sort out my sciatica and shit, but, like, that's not the kind of stuff I'm doing. And I'm like, okay, best budget gym shoe all-rounder. Because, again, if you buy, like, a running shoe, I'm not going to utilize that. That's not something... And I'm just going to be spending extra for something I'm not going to be using. Same with weightlifting shoes. I'm like, I just want a pair of trainers that is, like, just pretty good all-rounder. And it's like, and I want a budget pair. And it's like, oh, and every fucking site I went on, it was like, here's the lovely budget pair of general all-rounder shoes. They're £98. And I'm like, for a pair of shoes, I appreciate I'm going to be using these every other day until they fall off me. Hopefully that'll be, like, because these pair of shoes I got are like, they were like 36 quid. And they've lasted me a bit over a year of that much use. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty reasonable. And again, unless I'm doing, like, some serious, like, lifting, like, that requires weightlifting shoes. And even then, 80 quid, I'm going to stamp on you until you explode. Non-actionable. it just pisses me off. And like literally everywhere I was looking, I was like, can you please show me some budget? Which to me says, I don't think I'll get a cheap pair for like 36 quid. I think around like 50 is considered for a decent pair of shoes, especially in this economy. I think that's probably a good kind of
like anything
up 10
less
down,
than that,
turn around
you're
50.
sort of yeah, like anything less than that, you fall down the whole. It'll cost you like 20% less, but it will last you 50% less time, on sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
The Samuel Vimes.
Don't want to bring up Sam Vimes, but I mean because that's.
Shoes.
I mean it. Yeah. This is not. We don't need this in the podcast, but you're welcome.
Okay.
I just recently bought a pair of shoes from their website Shoe, but it's not. It's a UK.
Sure.
They sell shoes, but it's not spelled shoe. It's spelled like with C's and H's and things.
See, it's like
But
I don't know if it is German or it's pretending to be.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But they do on their website. There's a section you have to Google it. It's hard to find, but there's a section on there for like shoes that have been display ones, and they might have a few little scuffs and things, but they're like a lot cheaper.
I like how you're describing this like it's the secret menu at McDonald's. Like you have to get into like the dark bit of the website.
You get onto the website, but then if you click on the wrong filter button, it takes you out of that weird bit of the website back into the normal bit of the website. So you've got to be careful on how you filter it.
Do you need to like use Tor to access this level? Because it feels like these aren't to be worn. This is a shoe-based like dark web market, and it's like people are buying them to wear, Matt. People are buying them to
cool
smell.
Enough to know how the dark web works.
Okay, I'm not.
We're not having a conversation about how the dark web
I'm not instructing
works.
you how to go and buy more like feet
I'm very happy
shoes.
that I don't know. But you can buy foot-related things on the dark shoe. That is all I know.
Oh my god! Well, I was looking for because I was saying I was looking for like gym shoes today, and literally, one of the website was like nicefeet.co.uk, and I was like,
oh no!
I don't fucking think. And I looked at it and I had a physical like reaction. I was just like, oh. I turned 80 years old for like 2 seconds, and I was like, I have seen a life of war and misery. It was terrifying. And it was like Simply Feet or oh god, not sponsored.
Yeah, it's.
It was I would like to suck toes.com. Like
Wiki
fucking weird, mate.
Yeah. And that it's
toefucker.com.
So I've got some sock trainers which are called the Vajankles coming in the mail, so they seem to be pretty good. Also, I think a Vajankle would be cheaper than some of the fucking budget gym shoes I've been looking at, but whatever. See me rocking up to like wearing 2 Vajankles in the fucking gym.
Matt, what the fuck?
I don't want to Google Vajankle. I feel that's worse than the feet website.
I'll send you a picture, don't worry.
Okay. Anyway, what else before tangent? Warhammer. I've been having a bit of a peruse of the Games Workshop website.
Oh yes.
And it made me think of I remember we spoke about this in a podcast, and I would not be able to tell you which one. But I was talking about a Gene Stealer cult because we talk about maybe getting Tyranids because they'd be easy to paint, and I think it's right. But also, there was something nagging me in the back of my mind, so I've been digging around, and I still like the look of Gene Stealers. And I think I had a bit of a plan. I think I spoke about it, about doing like a slightly more human-based Gene Stealers, which I don't know whether I'll go down that route, but...
Yeah, you were basically going to do worker rebellion Gene Stealer cults, so they weren't Gene Stealer cultists, they were just union men.
Yeah, which does... I do like the sound of that, and there might be a few of them that are a bit sort of muty or whatever, but like, I don't know, I do quite like the sound of that still. So I've been eyeing up what I want to get just to have a bit of a practice, but they're not as easy to paint because I don't know, they seem like there's more going on. But I'm tempted to give it a go. So I'm eyeing up what to get.
I have painted a little bit of Gene Stealer,
and I feel like they're a bit less because I mean, Snipe, you've got I don't know how big is your Tyranid army at the moment, but you have at least parts of a Tyranid army. So I was like, well, maybe I can do something that I don't know anyone. I don't think that's got the Gene Stealer cult stuff.
I don't have any Gene Stealer cult stuff, but I was thinking about doing like, what are they? They're on the Cerberus horse dog mechanical things.
The Adeptus Mechanicus. They are Cerberus, the horse guy riding.
Yeah,
horse riding people. Cavalry.
You're doing terrific.
Is the word.
But yeah, I was thinking about doing maybe cowboy version of that, which would be pretty cool. So
Ooh, that'd be fun.
yeah, I just need to get better with green stuff first. So I'll probably never do it then.
I'm sure solutions could be acquired to make some very tiny cowboy hats.
I'm sure I
Yeah,
could
we'll
figure
work
it
it
out. Yeah.
But
Also,
yeah,
I sent you that
I'm
picture,
looking
DrummerMatt.
into. Oh, okay. I will endeavour to.
Oh, live Vajankle reaction.
Is it on the? What? How do you send it me?
On your Discord, personal.
Oh god, I don't even know how to do that. I don't understand Discord. Hang on, I'll have a check of it when someone else is talking. Anyway, I've been eyeing up what to get, and I was like, do I just get a few small, like a unit or something, just to have a test of painting, or do I just fuck it, let's just buy the like, what's the army box called nowadays? Combat patrol box, and just
The
be like,
combat patrol. Combat patrol is its own game type in and of itself. So if you bought that, you have a force that is usable.
Yeah, it looks a little bit too tentacly, maybe. But maybe I just go down as classic Gene Stealer cult and just go classic. I don't know. I quite like when you phrased it as like unionized. It twisted my leg more than I was expecting to be honest.
Your ankle.
Quite like the sound. Quite like the sound of that. Might have to do that. What else could I get? A kill team box and just get or something like that, just as a sort of smallish. Or just a unit. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Gene Stealer Cult's kill team looks like. Because it is a specific unit.
I will endeavour to have bought a unit. But then I need to buy paint as well, because I think all my paints have died. I don't have any... I need to dig into the contrast paints and see if I can just do the whole spray it whitish or off-white or whatever, and just chuck a bunch of contrast on it and then be done with it. Approach.
That is pretty much that's how it's supposed to work. You just it's just the only things you really have to pick out is like little details, like say if you're masochistic enough to paint eyes and things like that.
Yeah, I might just go down the basic route. I'm going to endeavour to have ordered something before we next talk.
Sounds good.
I'm going to go Gene Stealer Court. So there we go. I've decided live, or not live, but
yeah. You know what you also need to do live? Check your WhatsApp. Because I've sent you the picture there.
It's on airplane mode because I'm a professional and I didn't want it going.
I'm literally on Reddit right now. Yeah. I'm not. Why would I do that?
Yeah, but Reddit doesn't make it go.
Well, you have vibrations set on your WhatsApp.
No, with the in the 90s, phones and computers interacted.
Dude, lower the phone. People can see it.
Oh, hello. Okay.
No,
I think this is appropriate.
No, we can't show that on YouTube. Now that has to be censored. We give you video for half an hour.
I am neither editing this or responsible for what gets sent to my phone, so
I am both of those, and I regret.
I now have to write. I have to write the words "blur the Vajankle."
And now this chapter is called Blur the Vajankle. We all win.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Anywho, I think that's all I've had to talk about, to be honest.
Okay.
Wow. Do you think we could get a Vajankle sponsorship going?
I don't know who makes them.
I'll Google it later.
I feel like the vag part of the Vajankle should be in the like bottom end. Like if you like feet.
No, you like feet so much you want your dick to also have like a foot.
Oh,
so, you know,
okay. I thought you wanted to have sex with the foot.
Yeah.
But, okay.
You can also, do
I think like being in the bottom center of a foot would be way worse.
I mean, I guess what happened is that the foot fetishist who designed the Vajankle sat down and was like, okay, so here's my actual wants and desires. You know, this is the blue sky phase.
Basically,
but then reality hit, and they were like, well, you know, we can put the entrance where we all want it to be. You know, I suppose between I don't know what foot fetishists are into. It's no
feet.
slight. It's just. I mean the specifics. It's not my thing, so I don't really understand it. And they were like, you know, like you're gonna get to put the dick in there. You know, you got to do that. You got to be able to like clean it out. And they were like, look, I'm sorry, we got to put it in the stump. It's got to be in the stump.
You have completely misjudged. You've got that completely wrong. You're writing fan fiction. What happened? It was a board making at Vajankle Inc. Okay, you with me?
Yeah.
And everyone's like, well, we love the idea, the concept of a Vajankle, but where do we put our boner? And one of them was like, bone? what if your dick was the bone? And then that man got a promotion and got to fuck the CEO's wife in the Vajankle. So
In the Vajankle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Case closed. Thank you, Spotify.
Yeah,
Please,
yeah.
please generate that title, fucker.
Oh, we're never going to get better at this.
I'd pass on someone, but I've forgotten who's next.
It is the
Snipe?
Snipes.
It's me.
Yes. What have you been up to?
Me? Oh, well, I've been continuing with the gym viewing. Moving on. Thank you for just staring blankly at me, because usually when I'm just hearing you and can't see you, I pretend you're going, like just being fucking polite at least, and it was just complete fucking, just keep fucking talking, idiot. But yeah, no, I've been doing good at that. I forgot, Wib, I didn't tell you about the weird Geminal spaceman.
No, you didn't. I would have remembered that for a lot of reasons.
I told you about the other gym cryptid I encountered.
Well, you didn't encounter...
I didn't encounter him, but he is apparently so prolific. A stranger decided to, like, corral me and tell me all about it. So I'm like, okay, I'm coming in. I'm gonna take my lifting gear off and I'm gonna go do my cardio. And I come in, and there's a lady in there, and she leans over and she was like, "Have you seen the sleeping man?" And I was like,
this is a creepypasta. This is just a creepypasta.
One day
this
I
is
was
on
going
Two
to
Sentence
gym.
Horror.
I every time I go to the gym, I encounter a person who is worthy of a creepypasta all their own. I swear to fucking God. And like, she's like, "Have you seen the sleeping man?" And I'm like, "No, there's a sleeping man."
Should I have?
You know, and I'm trying to be like, my autistic, socially awkward brain is going, I don't have a script for this. How do I respond? Does she think I'm a spy? So she seems nice.
Yeah, but it was, it was very,
was a
very
sleeper
much
agent.
the nightjaw squawks at midnight, and you're supposed to respond, but only on the east side, and then you'll get given the microfiche.
Yeah,
and,
the sun is shining, but the ice is slippery. You know, have you seen The Sleeping Man? Only on Wednesdays in December. And then she gives me a microfiche, like you say. But no, and she leans over and she's like, the sleeping guy, the guy that, like, I was like, I haven't seen this person. And she was like, okay. So what was it? The description she gave me was, he's been coming in here for like weeks. And this guy has a gym membership. And what he does is he comes in and he works out. And then he'll just fall asleep on a machine for an hour. Huh. Like, he'll just do that. Like, she was like, I was waiting.
Or just in the middle of the day?
Yeah. And like, she was
Is your gym open like overnight?
It's 24/7. Yeah. And like, so yeah, he comes in like during the middle of the day. Because I tend to go around like, I like to go early morning because it's like quite quiet. And like, she was like, yeah, I was waiting like 50 minutes for the leg press, and I just realized he was just asleep on it. And it was like, I was like, what? And she was like, yeah. And she said, he's just fallen asleep on the shoulder press. And the staff have to keep, like, what happened was apparently the staff kept finding him, because our gym has unstaffed hours. Like, usually it's like during the night or like on holidays or Sundays or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, he comes in during staffed hours and just does like half a workout and then sleeps on one of the machines. And the staff keep going up to him going, like they went up to him for like a few times when he was doing this going, mate, you can't fall asleep on the machine. You have to use it or get off the machine. Then he came in with sunglasses, because I guess he didn't think they'd realised that the man snoring on the leg press with sunglasses on was asleep.
I think the next time he's going to come in with those glasses that have got eyes drawn on them.
Yeah.
He's like, I won't see past these ones.
Yeah, I was just like, what the hell? She was like, right, this is why we need women-only gyms. And I was kind of like, kinda? But also, this is not the reason
you just need
people
gyms
say
without that.
Yeah.
You just need gyms without that one guy. It's nothing to do with that
Counterpoint. Why enable a landlord when you can pay a gym membership and then just sleep there?
I will never enable a landlord.
He is the anti-landlord hero we've all been looking for.
But he is actually hurting his like comrades, because I need to get on that leg press within a few minutes, because like the way my body's working, I'm working towards a pump, and I need to keep up that kind of like prime lifting window. And if he's falling asleep on gym equipment for up to an hour, or maybe he's maybe he has narcolepsy and he's just like being a boomer about it and won't admit that he has like a disorder or something. Look, I just don't know, and I don't think it was related to the animals.
It sounds like he needs some sort of help.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't understand if it was like an unhoused guy who comes in and just like sleeps. Okay, but he uses all the equipment normally, and then he'll just sleep on a machine. So I'm kind of like, this is just weird. I haven't seen this guy. I see a lot of gym cryptids. There was like phone cryptid where he would go in and walk on a treadmill for hours, like 3-4 hours, and just talk really fucking loudly on his phone on like a FaceTime call. And like the whole you could hear him in the basement, I swear to God. He was Matt, you've seen him.
I don't think I ever saw this guy.
You haven't?
Not personally. I remember you telling me about him. There was Milk Guy, I remember. I remember him.
Milkman is my fucking enemy. And I will not rest until I've found him and eaten his bones, if I can. But I'm going to do it to prove my strength.
They'll be too tough.
Okay, so I'm on the... Because what I do is I do like an hour and a half of like weightlifting, an hour and a half, 2 hours of weightlifting, and then I do 20 minutes of cardio to help my lifting along and also do good cardio, yay. And I was on the elliptical doing my cardio, and this guy walks in, and he's like typical gym bro. He's got the skin tight shirt on, he's got the baggy trousers so no one can tell you skip leg day, and he's got the shoulder bag, and he's got 2 liters of fucking semi-skimmed milk, just a full ass bottle of milk, and he's just drinking it in the fucking like entry.
Just to be lifting with?
No, he's drinking it like a psychopath. And I'm watching this man going, and it was like half empty. He'd drunk half of it on his way from like fucking Tesco or whatever.
You see, it's funny. Like, I like drinking milk. Like I am not against drinking milk, but there is something it feels so wrong to just drink it like just as like out and about from a proper milk bottle. That just feels so wrong for some reason. A way that if someone's drinking from a full Coke bottle or whatever, I wouldn't even bat an eye. It's like, well, I mean, it's a little strange to drink from a big one, but
yeah.
But yeah, something about drinking straight from the milk bottle, like when you're out and about, it just feels so strange to me.
And then for like a month after, like every other time I went to the gym, there was like an empty milk bottle in the bins, like in the free weights area. And I was like, he's been here. Yeah. He's been here. Fucking calcium maxing like a fucker. I am just like, the man disgusted me, quite frankly. I don't know where he is now, but I hope he's milk free and flourishing, because that was the most obscene thing I've ever seen. Yeah, I don't think I can remember any gym cryptid, any more gym cryptids, but there have been so fucking many. Well, I did see an older guy on the treadmill who got really mad at my gym buddy. Like, because my gym buddy is like the width of a 4-poster bed. He's a big muscle dude, and he does his cardio on the treadmill. And this old like skinny boomer guy, not body shaming, some people are just skinny, was on a full incline.
I don't know what you mean.
hey, I took that skinny man and I married him.
This is true.
And like this skinny older guy who was walking at a full incline in webbing? Military webbing,
what?
like, the chest piece? The zip-up kind of thing with all the pouches and shit? He was wearing that.
What war are you going to go fight in, Malcolm?
It's like, he's like, oh yeah, got to be prepped in case, they come after me. And it's like, who? The gym stuff, and they're like, you need to wear shoes if you're using the equipment like that, you scummy fuck, what are you doing? And like my mate was just walking on the treadmill next to him, and this guy took it personal, and he was like trying to walk faster in his military webbing while constantly giving him an angry side eye. And I'm just like, what's the vibe here? I still am puzzling about that.
The thing about shared spaces is that they are both a wonderful thing that we need more of, but
And we
also
don't need
it
any
means that you come into contact with people who you would never normally come into contact with. So, you encounter a lot of colourful characters, shall we say.
Yeah, that's a very polite way of putting it.
I guess exaggerated by the fact that if it is a 24-hour gym, and do you go at
in the middle of a city
daytimes, or do you go? Yeah, because yeah.
I tend to go around like 9, 10 a.m. And sometimes I couldn't sleep the other week. This is the entire week. I mean, not inaccurate, but I went at I got there at 7 a.m. and there was one other person there. It was amazing. But then, because we live in a city, you've just got to avoid the drunk people and the aftermath of
avoid the drunk people and the vomit on the floor.
Yeah, you just got to avoid that. But
and the blood, the city blood. You've got to avoid that.
I saw a lot of that today, actually.
Yeah.
It was pretty fresh when I left around noon, I think it was.
Yeah.
But yeah. But no, I will try and recall some gym cryptids because, Jesus Christ, I wish I had the creativity to make some of these people up. I genuinely do. The other thing I want to talk about is Blood West, which I feel I should have a a cowboy kind of Western guitar kind of chord with a sweep stroke. I learned that with my brain. That's a first-person stealthy Dark Souls kind of, and I use the term Dark Souls because it is brutally difficult.
I'd say it's got some
rogue stuff. It's got RPG elements.
It's not a roguelike, and it's not a roguelite. It's it's a stealth first-person shooter, but there's definitely some elements that are at least partially inspired by roguelite-y, Dark Souls-y kind of ideas of how you do runs and things.
Yeah, and it's basically you can't save it or anything. It's just and every enemy does a lot of fucking damage to you. You start out with shitty weapons, and it's got it reminds me of the Ultima kind of inventory system where you have items that take up this many squares, and you have this many squares in your inventory. So this revolver is 3 squares across and 2 wide. You need to have that space, and it's inventory management as well, which I'm not a massive fan of, but
it's all attaché cases all the way down.
Yeah, fully. And I got negged by my character because anything I can pick up I do, and then it ends up me going, because the inventory doesn't pause when you bring it up. So I was just I'll find somewhere safe and I'll sit there and I'll be I want to keep all the guns though, because those sell for $5 each, and I'm maneuvering them and trying to figure it all out like an idiot, And I literally, like I said, I got negged by the character you play as, because I picked up a couple of guns and that was it filled up my inventory, and he went, "Stop hoarding things." And I was okay. First off, no. I want to
It's
sell
a video
them.
game.
Yeah, it's a video game, and I want to steal everything that isn't nailed down. That as my prerogative and my right as the main character. And yeah, I've just got to the second area now. I was really pissed off because I was having a bad day, so I was being unfair to it. But you basically you've got to do a bunch of quests in the area, and then you unlock the boss of the area, and you got to go and take the boss out. So I did my first try. I was this is so hard. It sends a bunch of ads after you that are really annoying. It's got Wendigo, which are gigantic tanks, and they fire ghosts at you, which I don't like. When people fire ghosts at me.
They fire ghost skulls at you from the skull in their chest.
Yeah.
Which is a normal
so cool.
thing.
I'm so mad at how cool they are. They're amazing. And it's got a really cool kind of low poly kind of old looking kind of FPS style to it. It feels a bit Quake at times. The Wendigo's face feels quite Quake, which is a very Lovecraftian, and Blood West is basically cowboys and Lovecraft, which, yes, sign me up. That's what I want out of life. And you get like loads of like you get like 3 item slots and 2 main weapon slots, which it gives you a lot of kind of there's no direct upgrades. There's only kind of like, okay, you can use this, but you'll have 10% less health, or like, so you have to sit there and make it like tricky decisions. And like I haven't gotten into like the, because you can there's a gun, like a lever action rifle you can get in the first area, in the first map, that is called the Drunken Master. And if you are drunk, because you can drink like whiskey and rye and shit, and that gives you like bonuses to like stamina regeneration, but then after it wears off, you're like more sluggish and regen. So it's kind of like, and it's like if you're drunk while you're firing it, it like it gives you a bunch of bonuses to hit, and I'm like, okay. Again, very Lovecraftian, very cowboy. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go and kill all these eldritch like nasties, but I do want to hit like half a bottle of whiskey first, and I'll take my special gun that means I can do better when I'm drunk.
Whatever works, man. Whatever works.
Yeah, and like I haven't really experimented with getting drunk, because being drunk on the battlefield ain't nowhere to be, son. It just feels wrong, and I haven't really had to go at much of the tonics, because you get like the health tonic, which doesn't just give you health back. The health tonic is like you drink it and that gives you like a time kind of thing. It's like over a certain amount of time it replenishes this much health. So there's still that kind of tension there. And bandages heal like 10 or 20. I think it's 10 maybe. So it's not much, but they apply quicker and they give you that little health quicker. But also if you get cornered by like, I think they're called a Risen Dead, which are like some of those main like jobber enemies that are like fleshy zombie things. 1 or 2 hits, you're dead. You are fucking dead. So it's like, okay, you might want to top up your health, but it's not massively going to matter until you start kind of figuring it out, which I am, and it makes you feel like you've really achieved something if you're being sneaky about it. It feels almost like with the boss fight, I'm not going to spoil it, but it was like you have to go through like the mines, because the first one's set kind of like, desert, and there's like a bunch of mines underneath it, which is very cool. And I was sneaking around there and I got to the boss and I'm like, okay, it's sending screaming skull ghosts at me and it's spawning wendigos, and it's just, I'm getting completely mobbed. And it also sends out like spikes that come out. It was really frustrating. I was pissed off and I was like, there's got to be a way I'm doing it, because it's like you have a single action revolver, which you have to reload with each individual bullet, which takes about as long as it would actually take. Same with your lever action. And like, sometimes there's different ammo types. So some enemies are more weak to silver. Some enemies are more weak to gold, like plated ammo. And like, you need to kind of know this stuff. And you only find out by either trial and error, or you magically find a note that describes that it's like a hunter's note going, yeah, I noticed these things tend to get like, you can really take them down easy. Like with the Wendigo, it was like, I found a note that was like, oh, 1 stick of dynamite, if you place that right, it's dead. It ain't coming after you. And I'm like, okay, dynamite's kind of hard to come across though. So I'm like, on my way to the final boss, there's like 3 Wendigos in the canyon, and I was like, this is, and then you have to kind of sit there and think, and there's like multiple ways to get it's almost like a diet immersive sim. Like there's a couple of things, like especially the boss fight, which made me feel like the old Deus Ex kind of thing. Obviously not as expansive, but where it was like, obviously it's a stealth game, so if they throw in a boss fight, it's kind of shit and terrible and isn't kind of going along with all of the lessons it's taught the player. So I was pissed off, and then I was like, okay. And you talk to like, there's like these glowing eye skull totem things that are really cool. And they're like, oh yeah, we resurrected you so you could go and like kill a bunch of evil stuff because something's going on. And every time you find like an artifact or whatever it is, you take it back and it goes, oh yeah, this belonged to this guy who got corrupted by the evil and basically became like a son of a bitch miner. And he was making miners work to death. And then you like go and fight him or like find the artifact attached to him. And the skull said like, oh, listen for the whispers of the dead and then only go left. And I was like,
ominous.
Yeah. And it was like, don't. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. And I also saw it in a walkthrough, but like I do remember kind of like, oh yeah, the spooky ghost, like the spooky like ram skull told me this, which is a thing that happens to me quite frequently. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And like, and like I did, and I found this little secret path that was full of enemies, but I stealth killed all of them, and I found these big like red glowing kind of like because there's like a bunch of like really thick roots, and I was like, and then you shoot them and you see the boss's health bar come up and a chunk is removed, and I was like, I'm hurting the boss before I get to its arena. Okay, I can figure that out. So I was sneaking around looking for that. I got the boss to about just a bit under a quarter health before I even got to the arena. And I was just like, I loaded some flame rounds in, so that does like kind of like that does like a dot, like a damage over time on it. And I don't think I even took a hit. I was like, I feel so fucking smart figuring that out.
I mean, that's really cool, because like one of the big problems with any game that prioritizes stealth,
the boss fights
and boss fights, is that those are two things that generally don't match up very well. The classic example is Deus Ex, Human Revolution, where if you try to play that stealthy, and like I remember trying to play it stealthy because I quite often do in games where I'll at least try and be stealthy until I realise I'm bad at stealth and then just go gung-ho about it. But I was earnestly trying to do a stealthy run of the game, and then I got to the first boss fight and realised that you can't play stealth in those, so you've got to gear your character up as like an actual fighting powerhouse to deal with the boss fights, and that turned out to be a good intuition because the rest of the boss fights in the game bore that out. If you tried to go pure stealth, you were fucked when you got to those points.
Yeah, it's really it's funny, but also in a sad way how I use Deus Ex, the original, as an example of like gameplay where it's like. Now, the thing is, if I wanted to take that boss one-on-one and I'd geared for it, I could have. But that's not how I've been playing. And it does discourage you from just blasting your way in. But you can do it. If you get your tonics and your weapons right, you could do it. If that's the way you wanted to. I'm just like, I'll go with the flow easy, I'll do stealth. And I was able to do the stealth thing. And I'm like, and I used Deus Ex, the original one, as a reference, and then we're like, oh yeah, and then it didn't do it right in the next Deus Ex, the modern Deus Ex they made, which is like, yeah. But no, I've gotten to the second area, and I haven't explored any of it yet. But it is really cool. I am just a sucker for cursed cowboys with eldritch touch, because I mean, the original Blood, one of my favorite games of all time, is just you are an undead cowboy, an undead gunslinger who has to do things for, like, you have to kill a bunch of like evil cultists and like monsters and stuff. It's not the same story.
A Lovecraftian cowboy game, you say?
Yeah, it's just kind of cool. And I'm just like, okay, so this is my niche, and game makers, please respond more. Yeah, this is what I want. But yeah, no, I've been having a hell of a lot of fun with that. Streamed a couple times. Looking forward to going back in. And getting my ass handed to me, because it literally... Okay, so this is the kind of cruel game it is, but it lets you know what it is. So in this new area, I'm like, oh, a new safe area. It's like deep in a mine, and I can smell this place. It's like, it's fusty, it's damp. It's great. It's designed amazingly. And I'm looking around, and I find a cute little like music box, one of those ones with a little ballerina in it. Like, you wind it up and you open it up, and I'm like, oh, that's cute. It's a trinket. And I'm like, oh, okay, so that's one of my 3 trinket slots I can pop in there. And it goes, heals you for 200 HP. Now that is an insane. That's a full heal basically for 200 HP. At least at that point in the game. I haven't played any further, and I won't spoil it. And I'm like, that's amazing. And I just picked up and read a thing about a monster called the Death Stalker. Not a clever name. It's a murder machine, and it's a bit like the Wendigo, but it poisons you and spits acid, so it's like way worse.
Oh, good.
and they're apparently extremely fast and tough. And I'm like, I believe that this game is underselling how powerfully brutal this enemy is. And then I read the flavor text on the little ballerina music box, and it's like, oh, we'll instantly heal you for 200 HP. Only works 15 times, and will randomly spawn a death, whatever it is, on the map at a random point. And I'm like, I don't like those odds. I'm not going to do that. No. So I put it in my item chest because fuck off. But the thing is, I know that there'll be a point where I'll have to consider using it, and I love that. I love being backed into a fucking corner. Because then you have to, like, I do really like the kind of the weighing up the pros and cons of it. It's like, okay, that could seriously be an issue for me. But it is good though. What if I'm like, what if I really need that health? And I know there's going to be moments where I'm out there and I get like jumped by something and I'm like, oh, it took me so long to get here. And if I just use that music box, I'd be fine. And you're
just going to roll those dice.
Yeah, it's going to be so brutal. Especially because like what happens is enemies do respawn over time. So it's not like, oh, you kill them once and it's empty. It's like you if you wipe out an entire area and then leave and come back, there'll be like say you killed 10 enemies, there'll be like 3 kind of like knocking around again. And I like that because then if you're kind of like, well, I need to farm money, I want to farm like XYZ, you can do it. So that kind of gives you a few more options as well, if you know, so you don't get super stuck. But yeah, I'm kind of like, okay, so summoning a Deathstalker, I'm like, oh, I don't really want to deal with a Deathstalker. They're scary. But so yeah, I'm looking forward to playing some more of that because it is actually quite intense and spooky as well. I mean, Whip, you were with me when I was streaming it, so.
Yeah, no, it was one of those games where you watch someone else play it, and I can intuit from looking at it, this is not a game for me at all. But I respect its moxie, you know?
And that it's got. But yeah, that's pretty much all. I will report back if I get any further, which hopefully I will. But yes, Wibblet, what have you been up to, my dearest?
A few things. One quick thing that I will add to that I did just before the stream is that my dad sent me a message going, what was his wording exactly? You like crap. Please watch this. It's awfully awful. Thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Kim. You're right.
It was a 1970s. I think it was 1977. The pilot, and then the main series came out in 78, and it only ran for like a season or something. Of a sci-fi American sci-fi comedy called Quark.
Okay.
And it's a little fascinating because it's if I recall my very quick like looking up what the hell it was, it was written by one of the same guys who did the series Get Smart.
I watched a lot of that.
Which is a spy parody show from I think just before. Yeah, it's an interesting show in that it's not like what I'd call funny, but it's also not like horrendously unfunny either. And it's got a kind of big budget, and every now and again does have a kind of good line. So I'm a little fascinated by it because like the first. So I think the first episode that's because they've put a bunch of the episodes onto YouTube, so like officially. So I was like, oh, I'll take a look at this. Possibly not officially, but it's a very good rip if it's not official. And the first episode is like, May the Source be with you. And this was made like a year after Star Wars, so it's one of the earlier Star Wars parodies made.
Before they became incredibly droll and tedious.
Yeah, and so it was, and so the source is an actual like thing that gets given to someone, and it's basically kind of this spirit almost that will follow you around and give you help. So it's like telling you what to do rather than it being like an actual power that you have. So they sort of like the way they parody the Luke with the little laser droid shooting him is it's like, okay, hold up this ball and all of your allies turn your laser guns down to the point that they are the power of a small pinprick. Now shoot him and I will guide his hand to put the ball in the way of your shots. Which of course they do, and they just shoot the shit out of him and he's just like ow 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 ow. And he's like, why don't you guide my hand? He's like, because you don't believe in it enough.
Okay.
You just don't believe in me enough.
That's kind of fun.
But his crew is interesting. So basically the main character is the captain of an intergalactic garbage truck, basically. With remarkably good like practical model effects for the time and for the fact it was a TV show. But his crew is an android, like a robot that he built. That I think you're introduced to him by like space is no place for a coward, which is why I should be taken back. There's what were they called? There's two of like the typical like old school blonde bombshell kind of character, and they're both clones and have the same name. They're just played by twins, which does lead to the kind of funny part of like someone going up to them, like they're somewhere they're not supposed to be, and like, do you two know each other? And they're like, no, we just met. Like they're literal clones with the same name on their name tag. There is a character called Ficus, who's the one I actually remember the name of, who is, he takes the role of the Spock-like character, so he is like no emotion, pure logic. And they do this by having, him and the main character will have a little bit of like banter of like, I don't have emotions, so I don't have, the downsides of having to deal with love. And then the main character's like, but, it's the pain that you suffer through love is what makes it all worthwhile. And then Ficus will be like, no, actually, that's logically inconsistent. And then the guy will go, okay. And he's trying to move away, and he just keeps pulling him back into this really tedious conversation of logic. And then the main character will have an inward thing of like, Captain's log. Oh, Ficus is evolved from plants, by the way. He's a plant-based life form. He's just a guy. He's played by a guy. He's got no makeup, but he's a plant. You're just supposed to know he's a plant.
Okay, that's fine.
And he sits down, and it's like, Captain's log. I lost an argument with a plant. And it's like,
I've been there.
Okay,
I've been there. It's not as fun as
and the final one is an interesting vision into how the late 70s interacted with gender.
Embraced.
Because there is a character who we are first introduced with, him being like, okay, so we're going to take the fight to these bad guys. Oh, yeah, I want to go. I want to kill them. Don't you just hate them? Don't you hate them so much? Like, I want to go and kill them. And then, we're going to go and get the other guys as well. These other aliens I don't like. We're going to go get those. Oh, yeah. And then he goes down like a little chute thing, and then he comes out the other end, and he like sorts out his hair, and he's like, personally, I don't see anything, any upside to this mission at all. And it's got a female like actress's voice, and you find out that this character's deal is that they have both male and female chromosomes, which means, in the logic of the show, that they have a kind of split personality thing going on, where they are warlike, aggressive man and pacifist, sensitive woman. And they go between the two of those at like the flick of a switch randomly. Now, I would point out that the way the chromosomes work means that it's like, I
you're a
obviously I
man.
know gender is much more complex than chromosomes. Don't
Yeah.
worry,
And you're right, your
very on board.
chromosomes.
But the most basic version of it is, you know, XX assigned female, XY assigned male. So like, if you're saying female chromosomes, do you just mean the X chromosome? Because like cis men have those too. Like, what are you talking about? Are you talking about an XXY? Because that is a thing as well. It doesn't make you into like a sci-fi like high, like split personality thing. I've only watched one episode of it. It was not utilized basically at all, aside from to make like 2 jokes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a weird show that I had.
Start on that one.
Yeah, I'd never heard of this show in my life before like 2 hours ago, and my dad was like, "You should watch this shit because it's shit." And I'm like, "Well, I guess it's an old sci-fi. I'm fucking gonna." Yeah.
How did your dad find it?
I don't look. I
Don't
don't
ask
know.
me, it's not worth
Look,
asking.
my dad's like me in that regard. Like, don't ask where he finds the shit he watches. You don't want to hear the
wanna know.
answer. But anyway, that's just on my mind because I just watched it. Brief mention: I watched Captain America: Brave New World.
Yeah.
I know, because you were
And,
live reacting to me every like 15 minutes. You were walking into the room and being like, "So this fucking stupid shit happened."
Well, I could talk about how there's interesting things to say about it, like how it's possibly not a good time to watch a movie in which a key plot point is triggered by the fact that the press would ask the US president awkward questions about a scandal at a press conference, as opposed to just letting him get away with saying any old bollocks and avoiding questions.
Oh, and
I'd say maybe
about it.
maybe that's the least believable thing in this movie, which expects you to swallow, even by the MCU standards, technology that is just magic, and plot points that involve you remembering the events of the Eternals.
Yeah,
Which
good
no
luck.
one. That's not an expectation you should ever put on anyone.
Oh, the new
but-
side note: Incredibles 3 is being directed by the guy who directed the Eternals and The Good Dinosaur.
Oh, so they want it to be incredibly forgettable.
Yeah, I was just thinking The Incredibles was just too good. Oh no, dude, your pride flag's full.
Oh, guys, it's gone now.
Live homophobic activation. DrummerMatt hates the quiz. He's like,
Okay.
when's straight Pride Month?
No. We've got to stream this. Like, we got to put off the release of this episode. We like stream the release. Like, we do a live premiere. So that bit happens at exactly midnight turning on July the 1st. Pride Month over.
The corporation's on July 1st.
My flag fell off.
It's because it's July. Happy July 1st, everyone. DrummerMatt says, "Fuck y'all queers."
I don't know. Where's it?
That's
Do I
much
look
better.
fetching? Is that
Beautiful.
You look like a
You are beautiful.
babushka, like a woke babushka,
better? Nice.
like complimentary. I like it.
Anyway, I didn't want to waste too much time speaking about Captain America: Brave New World because
Fair.
it's not worth it. Was weird that a movie that is basically about the Incredible Hulk and things that have happened around him does not even contain a single Mark Ruffalo cameo. It's quite peculiar.
Yeah, okay.
He's been at the
but I-
protests like a king.
But I think the better way of just leaving off about how I feel about it is that the only note I wrote about it on my little document is the word piss. So
Did you need to piss?
Good.
And you were like, you know what's
no, I think it was
interesting?
just how am I going to describe the movie? It's a bit piss. It's not. I mean, it's no The Eternals. I'll say that.
Thank God.
But also, it's unless you watch unless you watch the MCU like I do, as in it's my version of Coronation Street, it's my stories. I just watch it from time to time, and I'm not like, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But well, if I've got an hour and a half to kill, then why not watch whatever the latest movie is?
There's enough of them.
But, exactly. The only one I haven't watched is Thunderbolts / the name they gave it halfway through its first week of release, thus giving a spoiler, which I, being nicer than Disney, am not going to say the changed name, just in case you happen to avoid it at this point. Giving away which gives away a spoiler, apparently. But that's the only one I haven't watched, because I didn't care to go to watch it at the cinema, because I'll just wait the 3 nanoseconds it takes to come out on Disney Plus.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, we'll leave that fairly mediocre movie behind, because I want to talk about something that is not mediocre. It's not necessarily good, but it could never be described as mediocre, which is...
Okay.
So... we're currently going through a thing where we're doing a bit of fundraising on stream, because we've had got some big bills coming in, and so we're raising a bit of money. Send us money.
Snipe and Weird /Patreon/website.com.
This is okay. So now everyone knows that you named the fucking MisanthroPod email.
But one of the things I was doing, because I, as much as I will take your cold hard cash if you just give it to me, I do prefer to give people something in return. And so I was like, you know what I'm going to do? Because our streams have been quite often we just play a bit of a game here.
This is why you know all the foot websites.
It is.
You were naming all of the foot fetish websites earlier, and this explains why
you
know what they all are.
Because that was, I'm giving people what they want. Yeah.
No one wants my feet, everyone wants Wibs.
I mean, have you seen them?
I have. They are the Cadillac of feet.
I don't want any part of this conversation. I want this conversation shot and buried in the New Mexico desert.
Oh, there is 67 Ford Mustang of feet. Seriously. Watch those babies go.
Anyway.
People want to restore them.
Anyway, I was like, okay, what I'm going to do is play through some full games, from start to finish, because we do that startlingly infrequently. We play games that either don't have a defined start end point, or we play a bit of a game as sort of a preview of something we haven't played before and sort of try things out, and we do a lot of that on stream. So actually playing something from start to finish has been kind of rare. So I was like, you know what, I'm actually going to fucking do it. I'm going to play through some things start to finish. And what I decided to do for the first one was, I was like, okay, what's a game that we did a Snipe and Whip play on years ago, and I always wanted to return to see where it went. And that was Zeno Clash, which, for people that don't remember, is from 2009, and it is a first-person brawler, which has its issues as a basic concept, because I've always kind of maintained that, if you're going to do a melee-focused game, third-person works better, because you've got better kind of spatial awareness of what's going on around you. But if you're doing shooting, I prefer first person, and if it had just been a brawler, I probably wouldn't have thought about it again. But the thing is, the game is fucking weird. It is set in this weird alien world where nothing is quite right. The guns are made out of fish. Half the people you encounter are humans. Some of them, though, are weird caricatured humans. Some people are animal-human hybrids. So there's bird people and rat people and elephant people. And the basic premise is that you have cast aside your family because your family is ruled by a matriarch / patriarch figure known as father mother, who is referred by any all pronouns.
Queer icon, father mother, any all.
And your character Gat has rejected them, fought them, and as such has been cast out. But it's because they've kept father mother's secret. Now, the game is like profoundly weird, and it doesn't communicate. It like everything about it is you never really know what's going on with the world. There's like these people called the Corwids who Gat went and hung out with for a while, who are like the people out in the wilds, and they've all got a hyperfixation. Okay,
He goes and checks up with some neurodivergents, which
some of them, their hyperfixation is, I'm going to be a tree. One of them's hyperfixation is, I must always be walking forward. That's just saying. One of them's hyperfixation is that no one should see them. And so to do this, they take everyone's eyes. So it swings and roundabouts. Some of them are harmless. Some are the opposite of harmless.
I remember one her hyperfixation was pissing herself until she died about it.
Yeah,
I'm not even making that up.
It's sort of framed as like people just decide that this is what they are supposed to do, and so they do it. So you sort of, and that's just sort of a type of person in this world. Just Corwids, they're just like this. They just pick a thing to do, and that's just what they do. So you kind of escape from the land where people are hurting you. You kind of end up in the far lands, and I'm going to give a lot of spoilers for Zeno Clash 1 here. It came out in 2009. If you really wanted to play Zeno Clash, you would have played it already. You find a guy at the end of the world, big air quotes there, called Golem, and he knows everything, and he's like a human voodoo doll, in that if you hurt him, everyone around him will get the same injury. And you eventually go back to the main town, and you fight Father Mother again, and you say that you will not reveal their big secret. Now, I'd been playing through the game and going like, so is the secret of Father Mother that they've stolen all the kids? Which is kind of fairly obvious, because none of the kids are the same. Well, like, the kids are all various different species. So the fact the kids are stolen is almost like, is not a secret at all. And I was like, so that can't be the secret. That's really obvious. Then you get to the end of the game, and Gat's like, I will not reveal Father Mother's secret. But you need to stop doing that to the kids. And you're like, okay. And then this character Golem comes out and is like, but I will reveal Father Mother's secret. All the children are kidnapped. They're not really family. And you're like, well, yeah, I did work that out like an hour and a half ago, and the game's like 3 hours long, so, And also, I will reveal to you the wider world, and then he completes a Rubik's Cube, and then the game ends.
I'm saying this is like, not really an insult, but kinda. That's the most fucking David Cage ending. You know what I mean?
Now, the first game was based on the Source engine, so you expect kind of physics stuff going on, because obviously the melee combat, it works quite well, but it is also kind of inconsistent. So it's like, when it works, you do get into a rhythm of it, of, blocking, doing big powered up hits, using, certain melee weapons when you've got the opportunity, dodging and weaving. I was never very good at it, but I got through it enough to, muster my way through the game. The second game, which was released in 2013, so it was like a 4-year gap, they decided to go onto the Unreal Engine, which I think would have been the Unreal 3 engine at the time. Maybe it would have been the Unreal 4 engine by then.
2013? Yeah,
actually, that still would have been Unreal 3, wouldn't it? I don't think Unreal 4 would come out then. I don't know. Doesn't matter. It's on the Unreal Engine at that point. All the controls changed, so going into the second game, that was confusing. And then they made... the first game was on really, it was, very on rails. You were in one bespoke area, you completed that, you go on to the next area, you go on to the next area. Very, very linear. The second one went for a more open world kind of idea, but, kind of only semi-open world, because you can go to other areas, there are divergences, but mostly there's a way forward. And it suffers from that problem of it being this really weird world where everything's, all the animals are not quite right. Like, there's weird giraffe things that are sort of like giraffe elephants. You know, there's like weird creatures just all over. It's that stuff's like kind of interesting, and you find out that Golem has effectively brought the concept of laws to a lawless land, and he's never enforced them, but by introducing the concept of laws, the people there have started enforcing them on their own. Like, he didn't tell them to build a jail, they just knew that they needed to build a jail.
Is this aping the whole fruit of knowledge thing, Garden of Eden, from the fucking, like, Bible?
You could say there is definitely...
whatever the fuck Gat and all of these other people are the knowledge of law, or sin in this case, and therefore they were like, well, instinctively we know that we should lock everyone in a room who's been naughty and basically exacerbate the wealth inequality so we can profit off it? I don't know if it gets that far, but...
We don't really get too much into the concept of money, thankfully.
Okay, that's good.
There's stuff being said, and, you know, I went through and I found other golem creatures, that they do all have proper names, they're not just called golem, and I can't remember any of them, so it doesn't matter. But it's just like the North Golem, the South Golem, the East Golem, and the West Golem. And you fight a couple of the other ones as well. And one of the... It's interesting because one of them is dead and has a... you know, the board game Go? It has a board of that next to it. Another one you find who is also dead has a chessboard next to it, and so because the first one you encounter has a Rubik's Cube, you're like, these are games from Earth.
You mean like the thing Gollum did to introduce the concept of lawlessness, I guess, and crime and punishment? ACAB includes Gollum, is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So there's that thing, and then you at one point you go to the edge of the world and you find a futuristic city beyond it, and you find out that the people of the world, Xenozoic, I think it's called, are kept in this little pocket of the world, and they think that is the entire universe, basically. And there is a world beyond that, and it's a futuristic world, and they are kept in their place by these golem creatures. Which did give me flashbacks to another janky game I played on stream years ago called Afterfall Insanity, which has a moment where you leave what you think is the entire world, and your character goes, "It's a model! It's all a fucking model!" And I absolutely lost my shit. I don't think I've laughed that much in my life because of his odd performance. And that game is so weird. So I was having flashbacks to that, and it's like, okay, so there's another world, and like you get to this point where you find a grand piano and a bookcase, and it transports you to a pure white room with these objects of furniture in it, and you're like, these are Earth objects. Is this like a land that has been seeded by future humanity or something? And like you're trying to theory out like what the explanation is, because the second game has the slight problem of when you have a really weird thing and it's got a weird aesthetic and everything's alien and it gives you very little to grasp onto, is when you go back to that is explaining too much, because part of the fun of that is that it makes no sense. And they kind of started to do that. It feels like they're going to explain too much, like they're going to explain everything, and it's probably going to be unsatisfying. They solve this by bringing up all of these little objects, the city, the Earth objects, the what really is going on, and they're just not explaining fucking any of it. And the game just kind of ends with you defeating all the different bad guys you've been fighting, and then it's just like, well, we don't have the golems anymore.
They just Stephen Moffat it, basically. So I swear an explanation's coming, and it's going to be so good. Oh, look, more questions. Oh, it's going to be so good when we solve them. Ooh, just you wait. Okay, but what about? Ooh, it's going to be so good.
But I also kind of didn't want them to explain it, so on some level, I'm like, well, that's good. And there's no Zeno Clash 3. What there is instead is a third game called Clash. I think it's Artifacts of Power, which I will be playing. But that's not like a direct sequel. It's just set in the same world. So there's a very real possibility that all the things raised in the second game will never be acknowledged. But check out twitch.tv/Snipe and Wib if you want to see me play that and find out maybe if any of this series makes sense. But at no point has it been. It's fascinating because at no point has the series so far of the two games that I've played all the way through on stream, I wouldn't say either of them have been good, but they are fascinating and engaging. And even when they have missteps of explaining too much or not explaining things they probably should have, it's at least been interesting and it's been weird. It's not just brown corridors being explored by short-haired white guy with gun. It's not generic first-person video game.
He is a short-haired white guy, but he has, like, he's wearing bones and his guns are fish, so...
Yeah, and he has a girlfriend who has antlers. Well, no, she had big horns, like oxen or horns. Who's mysteriously absent for a lot of the second game, and because it's like you can play the second game in co-op. I didn't, but you can play it co-op. And the other player, rather than being the companion you had through the whole of the first game, is one of the random antagonists you fight multiple times in the first game, is just your companion for the whole second game. So at least they didn't Dead Space 3 it of pull a character out their arse. It was an existing character who's your co-op companion, but it was a bit weird. But anyway, the only other thing I wanted to mention about it, just a brief thing, is that there were some mini games that I played afterwards. The devs also made Rock of Ages, so there's a weird Rock of Ages mode in it, which is quite. It's cute. It's not good, but it's cute.
Yeah.
But the thing that put the biggest smile on my face, I think, through the whole way through Zeno Clash 2, is that there is a thing called frame rate challenge, and I'm like, oh, is that just like? It's just like what you got, a benchmark test? Is it just something like that? Maybe an interactive benchmark test or something. I don't know. Like, okay, I click on it. No. What the benchmark test, the frame rate challenge is the game spawns these wireframes men that will run at you, and you beat them and they explode. And more of them will appear than you can kill. So, what it's actually doing is seeing how long you can last killing them quick enough that it doesn't make the frame rate of your computer choke. And once you get down to about 25 frames a second, then you've got a timer coming on of like, you've got to kill enough to get the frame rate back up in 5 seconons.
Okay, that's amazing,
right,
and I
good.
love it. And every game should
I know.
have that.
And I was like, this is a wonderful and just bizarre idea to just throw in there. It's obviously like what like the devs were like, hey, this would be a funny idea. It doesn't make, there's no in-universe like thing for this. It's just
Yeah. It's like Snake versus Monkey
Sure.
in MGS3. I get it.
Yeah, it's just fuck it. We've got all of the assets to make this. Let's do it. And yeah, no, that put a big smile on my face because it was so
appreciate that.
silly.
I think it's really creative as well.
Yeah,
It's
I
really
was like
interesting.
genuinely.
That could be a game
I would-
in and of itself.
I would never have thought of doing that. Now, obviously, how good your computer is going to affect how.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Hard
like,
mode
when
play
was
on
this game released?
ColecoVision.
Like,
It was 2013. The second game
yeah,
was released.
so presumably playing it now, the mode
Yeah.
lasts a lot longer than it would have done.
Yeah.
Well, I'll put it this way. I played it one time and I got the 213th or something best time in the world.
Yeah, but you're probably the 214th person to play it. No shade on the game.
I think quite a few people played it back in the day. So, you know, the fact that I got that kind of tells you that having a modern computer does give you a bit of an advantage
Yeah.
in that regard. But anyway, yeah, so I guess I am, if not necessarily a fan of Zeno Clash, I am fascinated by it as a franchise. So yeah, I'll be playing the next game, so that'll probably be what I end up talking about on the next
You're
the next podcast.
fascinated by it.
I am fascinated, okay. We'll go with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
I
that
think
is
that's
Okay.
that is what I have done of any consequence. So I will pass back to the DrummerMatt, who I believe has some emails for us to respond to.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a few emails. The first one.
What is the email address that people need to send the emails to?
Matt, for fuck's sake, dude.
Is it just the DrummerMatt?
The DrummerMatt.
TheDrummerMatt at gmail.com.
Yeah.
Yep.
One day I will learn it. The subject of the first one is the glorious return of cum/piss.
Yeah.
I've
That's
been reading
fair.
my dream journal
Yeah.
There was a few saying
about coming piss.
About being glad that we're back, which is quite fun. Like similar to the YouTube comments, you know. Question. So this is from Dean, aka Chayat, aka the dude who made the bussy knife.
Yes.
Question. My gaming group have been really enjoying Trench Crusade for the last few months. It's deceptively simple to learn and has some enjoyable crunch when you get into it. I feel like some may have dismissed it as it's tried to be more grimdark than 40k, but I'd like to hear you sleuts' opinions on it. No, there's no H. It's sloot.
Oh, sluts.
Yeah,
It could be slut. Okay. Yeah, okay.
I told someone in the gym today I was an irredeemable slut for a Wendy's Baconator, and I have been kind of feeling bad about that all day. I don't feel
it's fine. Let people know where they stand, from the off. I don't think any of us have played Trench Crusade.
No, I have not.
I've had a bit of a look in at stuff. It is made by some people who had previously worked on Full Games Workshop, so that kind of it gives you an idea. I am interested by it, but I haven't played it or anything. The minis for it are either kit bashed or 3D printed at this point. I don't think you can physically buy them yet. I think there is plans to do that at some point. But yeah, it's like if you. I know that the game rubs some people the wrong way a bit because you know how like 40k has a lot of like religious imagery, but with skulls and torture. Trench Crusade is that, but dialed up as far as it can go, because it's set in an alternate, like I think it's World War One period. It's set in an alternate World War One period. But it went but like basically the Crusades and that era went very differently, and demons exist, and everything is fought along these horrific. It's all like horrific holy wars, but with like demonic things and magic and trench warfare and tanks and things. So it's sort of a grab bag of a bunch of like alt history stuff, as well as like grimdark kind of holy war kind of setting, and it's very interesting. I don't know why I'm explaining it, because I can guarantee 90% of the people who are listening to this have backed the Kickstarter, frankly. But at some point I would like to have a little bit of a dabble with it, but I personally do not know anyone physically who plays it, so I have not had the opportunity yet. Watch this, I find out someone I actually know will be like, oh, I play it, and I then won't have an excuse to not play it.
I play it.
Yeah.
Matt and I have a game every Sunday. What are you talking about?
Nice. All right. Lord Caketron, very quick one here. Is Matt still doing that thing with the mayonnaise? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last question. Agent Sinister. Question for me, in fact.
Oh.
Over the last couple of years, I've taken up running. Since January 24, I've been running 5k 3 times a week and have successfully completed 2 10k runs.
Nice.
Well done.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
I'm hoping to do a half marathon at some point, but I'm not certain the best way to prep. Do you have any suggestions? I mean,
how would you prep?
Keep doing what you're doing, to be honest. I mean, it's just sign up for what I struggle. My biggest struggle with training for anything is if I don't have anything that I'm aiming for, I cannot give myself the motivation to do any training for it. So find a local event or one that works well timing wise and sign up for it, because for me anyway, without that giving me the kick up the arse to actually train for it, I just wouldn't. So that would be the first one. Find a race. If you find someone else to run with or whatever, or at least not necessarily run round with, but at least, you know, get to the start with or whatever. Extra bit of motivation. Cool. But yeah, get signed up for one. I reckon if you can run a 10k, you'll be able to get round a half, to be honest. Whether you do it in a time you like, I don't know. And whether that's important to you, I don't know. But yeah, get signed up for one is my biggest tip. And then in terms of training, just keep doing it. I think running is not for. I used to think. Well, I used to think it was, you know, not for everyone. But once I actually started doing it, I was like, you know, actually, most of what makes you a good runner or get around these things is just having the time to do the training. There's people who, you know, for whatever reason, that doesn't work for them, and that's fine. But I think if you've got to the point where you can run a 10k, if you put in the time, you'll be able to get around a half marathon. I reckon it's just a case of putting the time in, which is hard. But
that's the hard part. You got to do it consistently.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, getting out for 3 runs a week, I mean, that's a great start.
I will say, like, on the whole, like, having someone to, like, run with. I mean, I don't want anyone near me if I'm doing cardio, because I have to have my headphones in blasting music to distract me, because I hate it so fucking much. But I know I'm weird like that, so
I mean, same, to be honest. I still struggle to. I have got to the point now where I have gone on the occasional runner and I've been like, "Oh, this isn't horrible," but I still don't massively enjoy doing the thing. But I really enjoy having done it, which is the important
It's like,
bit, right?
I know it's not running, but it's a similar kind of. I don't want to say discipline because I don't want to big myself up, but for lack of a better word, it's like doing it every other day. It's like then like last couple of days I've been like, because I've been trying to up my my incline curls, and I did a set with an extra kilo, and I was like, fuck you, and I was like, this isn't making me hate everything. Oh shit, this is why I'm doing it. Nice.
Whilst I can't necessarily speak for exercise because look at me,
and now you can.
But I do understand, because it's a similar principle with a lot of art and stuff. It's, you know, a lot of people, they get they get into ruts where they don't paint their miniatures. And the trick to painting miniatures is just to do it. Do it and do it consistently, make it into a habit. And that's kind of true for anything you want to change about what you're doing, whether it is something as simple as I want to get good at, like, drawing, or I want to get good at painting miniatures, or you want to improve, like, your fitness or whatever. It is about just, okay, I've just got to commit to this. And what that commitment looks like is going to be different to different people because of their life and any like special requirements they have that means they can and can't do certain things. Like, it's always going to look different to each person, but, like, you've just got to commit to the thing, whatever that thing is.
I'd say the biggest thing with because it's all the same discipline, whether it's I want to get good at guitar, I want to run a half marathon. It is literally just, you need to find a way that you can continue to practice or train that is sustainable. That's the biggest important thing. So if, like, with fitness, it's kind of like, you're supposed to, in order to for good cardiovascular health, you should have 30 minutes of moderate like heart rate increase per day, which is like, it's like, okay, so if I go and run for like 30 minutes, I'm going to be fucking miserable. That's not how I figure it out. But I could go for a brisk walk, and maybe I could listen to a podcast, or maybe you kind of go, I'll paint my miniatures and I'll listen to this long running, like, series as a podcast or whatever, or like I'll listen to an audiobook I really want to listen, but I only get to listen to that audiobook when I'm painting. And then you go, well, okay, that's making me miserable, so how about I get to listen to an hour of it or whatever if I paint this gun, or I do that. And that's kind of like, you need to kind of just, as long as you're doing it, that's what's important. Like DrummerMatt said, it's just.
Well,
again,
it's like I did. I did my hobby streak thing recently, which I got to, I think 103 days
tempted
on.
to do that.
Oh, nice.
And I only stopped because it was starting to become like I felt obligated in a way that
you can burn
I
out
wasn't having.
easy if you try.
I didn't want to burn out, so but that meant that like the thing I'd been putting off for like a year and a half, which was finishing off my Lamenter's army, I just did over the course of like a month and a bit. Like I was just like, yeah, okay, I'm just going to do this. I'll get that done. And then there was like 3 or 4 different like mini projects within that like 100 odd days that I had been putting off. But because I developed a framework where, okay, I do a little bit a day at this time, then you do chip through it. And, you know, whether it is fitness or like, you know, any kind of artistic expression,
any kind of skill,
fundamentally the same kind of thing. Like, of just find the way that you can consistently do it. How consistently that is again going to vary from person to person, but like consistency is key.
Sustainability is also key. There's 2 keys.
It's a very big key ring.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Is that all
that's
the questions?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. If you want to ask us questions, send them to TheDrummerMatt@gmail.com.
Yes.
Yep.
Please send us questions. They are super fun to answer. And also ask me about weightlifting and other stuff.
Oh.
I'm being very demure. I'm being very coy. As you can see.
Okay, we don't. We're trying to keep these things under 2 hours, so we should leave now.
Okay.
Yes, fuck off.
Well, thank you for sticking with us through the first of what will be probably a good few MisanthroPod visual episodes, if you can stomach that.
In theory, every episode from now on should be like this, unless they're not.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. Let us know if you liked it. If you didn't like it, don't say a damn word.
You fucking
don't want to hear it.
You will lump it. Actionable threats. Yes. Thank you very much for listening. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.